Hi, and welcome everybody to another edition of the Winner Circle Sports Betting Podcast. It's Monday, January 17th. It is our college basketball edition. And every Monday in college basketball, I will be joined by Mr. Doug Upstone of DocSports.com, who's on the other side of me. And boy, oh boy, Doug, if they watched our videos last week, we did pretty damn good for the viewers.
Yes, we certainly did, Ross. It was excellent, and just overall, I was pleased. I actually felt like a politician at a $5,000 a person meet and greet. Okay, I mean, it was everything went well. Everybody got paid. Everybody made money, so it was good stuff.
Yeah, absolutely. We both had a decent weekend and a good weekend, I should say, in the NFL playoffs. I went 3-2, but I hit my two top plays. I had Buffalo on Saturday, 47-17. Boy, I love that result. Nothing better when you come from Western New York than the Buffalo Bills humiliating a New England team coached by Bill Belichick. Anyway, and I also had San Francisco on Sunday, and I believe you had both of those selections as well, right, Doug?
Yes, I did. I gave it here on the show, but when I went and did the further research on Buffalo, I liked it so much I made it a 6-unit play, and nice. San Francisco was one higher. So yeah, so that's what happens when you watch this. Sometimes you might get our best plays. Okay? Yeah, just you never know what can happen.
Well, you know, as far as the NFL playoffs go, we were just talking off air. The number 7 seeds were very disappointing this past weekend. Philadelphia just did not compete whatsoever. And the other 7 seed in the AFC was the Pittsburgh Steelers. And as a lot of people predicted, including us, they did not compete and got blown out by Kansas City. Hopefully going forward, Doug, because we know that they're not going to get rid of this 7 seed. Nor do we want that to happen, but hopefully going forward, we'll see some more competitive situations with these 7 seeds.
Yeah, at least one. You know, I mean, because a blowout can happen in any situation. And let's face it, I mean, Buffalo did play other than the 2 extra points. You know, Buffalo played a perfect game. Okay. Yeah. I mean, they just did. And that Micah Hyde interception. Oh my goodness. That was spectacular. And then, once Pittsburgh, just, couldn't contain Kansas City anymore. The only good part of this though, of the 8 teams that we have left, Ross, we got 4 really good games.
Oh yeah, okay? Absolutely.
I mean, we're doing this before we know the result of Arizona and the Rams, but I think I guess it really doesn't matter. I mean, Arizona has been so good on the road. So if they beat the Rams on the road, that sets up an interesting game at Tampa Bay, that would, and even if, so we'll see, but so it's going to be, you're going to have to put on the thinking cap this week for these 4 games.
The Rams already beat Tampa Bay this year. Did Arizona play Tampa this year? I'm not sure.
I don't recall that, but it seems like if they would have, it would have been a bigger deal where you remember, because Bruce Arians coached Arizona before. So I'm going to say no, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I just asked because the Rams and Arizona being in the same division, sometimes they play the same teams in their non-conference schedule. Right. So, but that might have been one of those 2 games that they throw in on their schedule that didn't match the rest of the division. That happens with every team. Anyway, Doug, some great matchups. I mean, the top 4 seeds are alive in the AFC. San Francisco with a nice win over Dallas yesterday. We both pegged that one. And look, the only thing that worries me with San Francisco going into next week is the health, I should say, of Bosa and Warner. They're star defenders. Hopefully they're healthy and ready to go next week, because you want to see teams at this time of year at full strength. Even if you have an interest in, meaning it's your favorite team, you want to see them face the best. You know what I mean? You don't want no asterisks. You don't want, they didn't have this guy and that guy. You want to see the best players on the field. So college basketball last week, we saw some interesting twists and turns with all 3 undefeated teams going down early in last week, and now there's no undefeated teams left in college basketball. Baylor, who everybody was giving a lot of accolades to after winning the national championship, being number one going into last week and undefeated, they lost twice. So, any thoughts on college basketball betting, Doug?
Yeah. I'll just a couple of. I'll make them quick as possible here. First of all, there is no easier or better thing to bet on, okay, than Rick Barnes in a game where his team is playing a really good team, especially on the road. Okay, so Tennessee went to Kentucky. How'd that turn out? They only lost by 32. They were at least not. They were like a 7 seed in the NFL this past week. They were terrible. Another thing that stuck out to me was scheduling, catching up to a team. Okay, and this is something from a handicapping standpoint to watch out. The team that I saw was Texas Tech, and Texas Tech in their situation, it was their 4th game in 8 days, basically an NBA schedule on the road. And in this case, they were playing a desperate Kansas State team that had not won a game. Okay, in conference play. Well, guess what? Okay. Got the job done. Kansas State did. Texas Tech just basically fell apart in the second half. They looked like a very tired team, and it showed Kansas State. So that, from a handicapping standpoint, like something that Ross and I look at every single day, that's a great situation on that one. And one other thing that caught my eye and something to look at going forward. You're going to fight some big spreads, okay, going forward on this. But Murray State beat Belmont, okay, on the road. I think it was 26 points, 24 points. Blew them out.
Yep.
Just killed them. Okay. Yeah. And the one thing in following the Ohio Valley, and there's 3 or 4 teams I regularly follow, pretty close. And Murray State, their best teams are always when they have a better defense, because they're always going to score. Yeah. That's just a given. But when they have defense, that's when they cover spreads. This year, they're 14-2, 9-4 against the number. And oh, by the way, they're giving up a 40.8% shooting percentage. Okay. So this team is legit. I mean, are they a Sweet 16 candidate? I'm not saying they're that good. Okay. But in their conference, okay, they're going to be tough to handle. And if you get anything even reasonable, and I'm going to say reasonable is under 15 at home, and let's just say 10 or less on the road, I don't think you can pass them up.
As far as being a favorite, yes.
Yes.
Even going back to last year, I thought the Ohio Valley was a very underrated mid-major conference. I mean, a good team in UT Chattanooga too, in that conference. So yeah, good points, Doug. And Texas Tech, not only the 4 games in 8 days, Doug, but they also knocked off a couple highly ranked teams prior to that. So yeah, that was a good situation to fade them. Hindsight's always 20/20. I left it alone because I just said that after I watched them prior to that loss at Kansas State, I said, this is going to be a difficult team for me to fade. But sometimes just staying off a team like that you're high on because you don't think it's a good betting situation is almost like winning. So
absolutely. Yeah, I was fortunate. I took them. I went with it. I like
Kansas State. Wow, good for you.
I just, it did take some onions, as Bill Rafferty might say. Right. But yeah, I like the situation. Nice. And it played out. So I was happy with that, and we'll see if we can keep it going.
College basketball did well for you last week, Doug?
Yes, indeed. I'm actually right now, Ross, it's turned around. I'm on a 14-6 run. Okay. I forget how many days that covers, but yeah, so 14-6, 70%. So going to try and keep it going here and just get the momentum. And I like conference play. I have to be honest.
Yeah, we all do, because it's not easier, but we know what to expect a little bit more. Yeah. And in addition to, Doug has had a pretty good NFL regular season, and I guess that overlapped into the wild card round.
Yes. Yeah. So I only had 2 picks and hit them both. So that takes it up to 42-28, which is exactly 60%. Yeah. And I think in terms of dollars, it's a little over $6,400 based on units in terms of profits. So Ross, it's been another really good NFL regular season, or NFL season now. And so it's going to just, try and keep it going in the big plays. But hey, we'll talk more about that probably on Thursday and see what we can do and get something going there.
Yeah, you could find Doug's plays at docsports.com. That site's been around for 50 years. This year made their 50th anniversary. And folks, in this business, longevity speaks volumes because we've seen a lot of people, a lot of services, a lot of companies come and go just in the 20 years we've both been in this industry. 50 years is incredible. Great handicappers at that site, docsports.com. One of the best right here with Doug Upstone. Doug, you have a college basketball free winner for us.
I certainly do, Ross, and we're going to go to the Big East. In this one on Tuesday night, Butler is a big 12.5-point underdog heading to Connecticut. Now, the Bulldogs, in my opinion, have turned into an extremely average program. Okay. And I believe that is at the fault of their coach, Lavelle Jordan. He came in with, some accolades, but this team and last year's team was a problem too, but this team's only 9-7 and 5-10 against the spread this year. Offensively, if you watch Butler, okay, there's just not a lot of offensive talent. And by design, Jordan has a team that is only averaging 52 shots a game and scoring 59.1 points per game. Connecticut, well, they're just the opposite. This team averages over 80 points per game. They put up 63 attempts per contest. Danny Hurley's team, okay, they're at their best when they can run. Okay, and that's really their skill. They're an outstanding defensive team, giving up 39.2%, and they're +7 in rebound margin. So that means on those missed shots, they're getting the boards and off they go. Okay, with this. Now, I have to admit, I'm a little puzzled, and maybe I should have more trepidation than I am about this. The total is only 126.5, which in theory would favor Butler in this case, especially with this large of a point spread. But you know what? Butler on the road recently, Ross, 3-11 against the spread, facing teams with a winning record. And in the other case here, they're also only 1-7 as underdogs. Okay, this season. Even though that's a lot of points, both of those angles I just gave you, Butler has lost those games by 15 or more points per game. In this battle of the dogs, Ross, I'm going to take the Huskies minus the 12.5 over Butler.
Nice. So Doug Upstone likes the UConn Huskies, laid at 12.5 over the Butler Bulldogs. Yeah, since Brad Stevens left Butler, it just seems like there's been a slow decline in the Butler basketball program.
Chris Holtman did a nice
job.
And
he's at Ohio State right now.
Yep,
so,
but that's before.
Yeah, and the thing is those guys were there before Butler was really a Big East team per se.
Right.
And, that was a stepping stone job then. Now Butler's got to look and say, hey, we're in the Big East. That's a major conference in college basketball. We need to get a guy that's going to build a program here and give him very little reason to leave. In other words, pay the guy. You know what I mean? So We'll see going forward. So the whole different situation. Doug, I'm going to look at the North Carolina at Miami game. And, you had Miami earlier this week on our free pick, earlier last week, I should say, on our free pick video. Miami lost that game by 1. They were a 6.5-point dog, and that loss snapped a 9-game win streak. Now they returned home. They're 5-1 in the ACC, too. That was their first ACC loss. This is a Miami team that's much better than the experts gave them credit for, obviously, prior to the season started. And North Carolina's been playing good this year, but there's something just missing in this North Carolina team that I can't put my finger on. And I think this is going to be a tough spot for them. In addition to, Doug, it seems like when North Carolina stepped up in class this year, they've had a difficult time. They lose to Kentucky by 28. They lost to Tennessee by 17. They lost Purdue by 9. So it's not like they've stepped up in class and performed well. And then they also, in their previous true road game, lost to Notre Dame, who's not in the top 25, a decent team, but, far from a top 25 team. And Miami, 8-1 on their home floor this year, including 7-0 in the last 7. You're catching a little bit of points here at 2.5. And since last year, since 2019, 2020, Miami's been a moneymaker as an underdog, going 17-7 against the spread. Well, since last year, North Carolina is 5-14 against the spread when facing a team with a winning record. And Miami comes into this game with an overall 11-4 record. So that would qualify on both ends. I'm going to take Miami plus the 2.5 over North Carolina. And Doug Upstone, he likes the UConn Huskies minus 12.5 over the Butler Bulldogs. 4-0 last week, folks, with me and Doug on our 2 free pick videos. We're going to go 4-0 this week too. 2-0 with these picks today. And don't forget, on Thursday, we'll be back with our NFL edition and look forward to that as we have some premier matchups that we're very excited to talk about. Doug, any final thoughts?
Yeah, Ross, and 2 things about what you said about North Carolina is that, first of all, the thing that's most striking about that is the point spread. I mean, that's to me, it seems like a low number. So that means that the odds makers, believe that Miami is this good. And to your point, I've seen North Carolina play 4 different times. And to me, the thing that's lacking, urgency.
Yeah.
Okay. What you're used to seeing from this team in the bigger games is them playing well. I don't think their talent is as good as what it's been maybe in the past. That's another subject, but there's just that lack of urgency. I'm not saying Hubert Davis can't coach, but I think that we're going to have to take a wait and see approach, as far as North Carolina goes going forward with him sitting in the hot seat now, so to speak. So yeah.
Yeah.
So but to your other point, yes, looking forward to another big week of college basketball, which I already mentioned. 14-6 run, things are going well. Hockey continues to do extremely well. 26-13 as I do this video, hit 5 in a row. So we're going to try and keep that train going down, melting some ice, if you will, and trying to do that. So Ross, Doug Upstone at Doc Sports, and just trying to stay hot right now.
This isn't nothing new for Doug in the NHL. I've been acquaintance with him for many years now, and I know historically and consistently he's been very, very good in the NHL, enjoying a great NFL season. Again, folks, you could find a lot of great handicappers, Doug being one of the finest at docsports.com. You could find me at rbwins.com, R as in Ross, B as in Benjamin, wins.com, and my NFL 10-star top plays on a nice run, folks. 7-1 with my last 8 and 9-2 with my last 11, including 10-star top play winners on Buffalo on Saturday, San Francisco on Sunday. I'll have 2 more 10-star top plays this upcoming weekend in the NFL playoffs. College basketball, over my last 140 college basketball 10-star top plays, I've won 59% of those games, and my dime players during that course of time up over $20,000. So for Doug Upstone and Ross Benjamin, we'll see you again on Thursday. Good luck, God bless, and take care, folks.